and it's 360 days approximately. So they say, then this is the new year. The Nile overflows its banks at the same time as we see the star. And we don't see that star again for another 360 some days. Now, if the star and the flood if there's no coinciding, then if the flood comes first, you got to wait until you see the star to start the new year. If the star comes first, you got to wait till the flood comes to see the new year. You got to come together. In the time that they didn't come together, those were extra days. And you know what the Africans called them? Holy days. That's how holidays came into being. There's no holidays before that. These holy days, these 5 holy days, we can have festivals. We can celebrate ourselves. We can wait until we see the star and the flood at the same time. Begin the calendar that we have. The lunar calendar, we say 12 months, 30 days apiece, and so on. But this is the calendar. It's African genius that created that and gave birth to it. So Kwanzaa said in 1966, the only people in the United States without a holiday that was created by us, for us, are African people. Everybody else got their own holidays. And religions had their holidays. And that's why he said Kwanzaa is not Ramadan. Kwanzaa is not Christmas. Kwanzaa is not Hanukkah. It is not attached to a major religion. It is only attached to African culture, African people's history. That is our history, our culture, that gives us this idea based on the concept of the first fruits, the first harvest, the yam harvest, the new yams. Africa has these festivals all over the continent. New yam festivals, first harvest. You celebrate on that time, you see? This is a celebration. Now, some people say we had Juneteenth. Well, Juneteenth, we didn't create Juneteenth, number one. We can celebrate it, and I don't have a problem with celebrating Juneteenth. I like that. But we didn't, that's not something that we sat down and said, this is our holiday. We said because they forgot us, and they came and told us that we were free, that we're going to celebrate that day. But with Kwanzaa, Kwanzaa did a very brilliant thing. He said, throughout Africa, there are festivals and celebrations. So let's use African context. Let's use African languages. And he said we could use any language. Like today, we started with Akan. But you can use Yoruba. You can use Zulu. But he said the best language to use for us is Kiswahili. And why Kiswahili? Because it is not attached to a large ethnic group in Africa. You see? If we were to say we're going to only use Yoruba, or we're going to only use Hausa, or we're going to only use Zulu, we would have big fights. People say, well, why not use Igbo? Why not use Kikuyu? You using but with Kiswahili, it is one of the smallest ethnic groups in Africa, yet its language is spoken by nearly 80 million people because it was a trade language. It was used for trading different people, and they used that language. So not only that, it was an easy language to learn. You can, if you heard Brother Asari just earlier, you know that the language of Akan is very tonal. you have to make sure that you have the right tone, because I've been in Ghana many times and I thought I was saying the right word, and people say, "Oh, Dr. Sonny, you can't say that." I said, "But it spells the same way." He's, "Nah, you don't go by spelling, you go by tonal quality." Kiswahili is not like that. Kiswahili is like Spanish. What you see is what you say. I don't care how you say it, it's still the same. You can say Kiswahili, or you can say Kiswahili. It's the same, but you can't do that in Yoruba, and you can't do that in Akan. You get some wrong things, you see? So Karenga understood that very early. So he says Kwanzaa then is a celebration for all African people all over the world. And I've seen it celebrated in Johannesburg. I've been in Paris where it's been celebrated. It is celebrated in Salvador, in Brazil. It has now become an international African celebration. And the meaning of Kwanzaa has a lot to do with the fact that we, as African people, are ourselves meaningful. We are the first humans. There are no humans before the humans on the continent of Africa. Didn't exist anywhere. We were Homo sapiens. All the humans in the world are related to the continent of Africa. 8 billion people. But the beginning is the continent. So we can't dismiss the continent. And so this celebration, this pre-Kwanzaa celebration, is extremely important for us because it also sets the standards for us of what was important in terms of our community and how our families were built and how our relationships with other people were built. You see, that's what Kwanzaa means to us. That's the power of it. And so for us, we know that Kwanzaa starts on the 26th of December and it goes into the 1st of January. But we wanted to, for the community, give the community an example of what Kwanzaa looks like. So we are very, very happy and very proud for you to have to be here, and we want to thank all of you for coming. And we are going to, at this time, we're going to do a number of things. We're going to have Dr. Dove, and then after that, after she speaks, we're not having questions and answers, but after she speaks, Dr. Alonge Clarkson, one of my recent students, will come forward and she would read us the Kwanzaa text. And then after that, we will have the lighting of the candles. And we might choose somebody from the audience to light those candles. I was looking for Yesenia, but I don't think that she has made it. Oh! Forgive me. I'm so sorry. No, I don't know why I didn't recognize you from up here, but I'm getting older and my eyesight is not as good as it was. Thank you so much, Yesenia. So, and we have the lighter and everything. We'll show you all that. But so happy. Yesenia is from Colombia, and Anna and I went to Colombia earlier this year. And she and her friends gave us a wonderful tour of that country, and we saw the black people of that country. 30% of the population of Colombia is African, and they are deeply committed, many of them, to the African culture. And so we need to always remember that we are Pan-African people. We are world people, actually. We are world people. All the way to Australia, we are world people. And I see that when I go different places, and I just want to thank you, Yesenia, for being here. So after Yesenia, then we'll have the 7 Harambes, and I know that some of you came thinking that we would eat, but you eat in Kwanzaa on the 7th day, so we're not eating tonight here. You can have Kwanzaa at your home. It was a family holiday. The way Karenga set it up was for each family to teach your children and your neighbors and your friends how to celebrate each other. We celebrate ourselves. Can you believe that we had for 246 years of enslavement, we didn't celebrate ourselves. And then when we got out of enslavement, we started celebrating George Washington. You know what I mean? You know, it's like, wait a minute, why are we celebrating white folks like that? You know what I mean? The enslavers. You can't do that. It's very important that we celebrate and love to celebrate. The greatest queens in the history of the world were the African queens. 42 of them served in Nubia, in Kush. No other country in the world has had 42 queens ruling, except the African country. The earliest women we know of as mathematicians or scientists were African women. Hypatia was the first woman mathematician that we know about in history. And yet, of course, people didn't like it and killed her. She couldn't be so smart, you see. So there are many things we have to celebrate. Celebrate ourselves, and I appreciate so much the libation for that. So at this time, the outstanding Dr. Nadav.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here. I thank you, Dr. Asante and Anna Asante, who are giving us this beautiful place in which to come together in joy and in celebration. I'm going to focus a little bit on women. Everybody expects me to do that, but that is my area of expertise. So as an Africologist, my mission is actually not only to bring Africa, the story of humanity, in fact, to bring that to ourselves and the world, but also to bring the story of the African woman to the world, because that's a missing part of world history and sometimes a missing part of African history. So bringing the woman back is very critical. Now, the first people of the world were from Africa. There was only one human race. There is only one human race. But what is important about our coming together and about Kwanzaa is that it's based upon the principles of matriarchy. Matriarchy was the first culture in the world, the first human culture, and it existed in Africa for thousands of years. And then people who migrated out of Africa to populate the whole world became the first First Nations people and the first indigenous people of all the different parts of the world. And they came with African matriarchy, and it existed for thousands of years. And there is still evidence from these First Nations people of matriarchal values and beliefs, even to this day. Some of you may have gone to Australia. I've been to Australia many times, but more recently this year. And I've been trying to do work there to interview mothers who are the matriarchs amongst First Nations people in Australia. They still recognise themselves as a matriarchal people, and they've been out of Africa for 63,000 years. But there is evidence all over the world, particularly in the Americas, in the Pacific Islands, across the world. I won't go into it, take up too much time, but So there is evidence of this. And what is really wonderful about the work that Dr. Karenga did was that he has based Kwanzaa within the principles of matriarchal tradition. As Dr. Asante said, he has created this day of celebration that we all come together as a family. I'm looking at the mothering of matriarchal culture to recognize not only the mothers, but to recognize that African matriarchy revered the woman as the potential mother, but it wasn't only that she was the mother, it was also an honor, an honorific title for people, no matter what their gender or age, who exhibited a mothering values, who had compassion and love for others. So it wasn't only a mother who gave birth, but it was also a status of people that loved other people. So it's very much a part of what Kwanzaa is, that it embodies that love and it embodies that status, so that you can be a man or a child, or both a man and a woman, and have that those qualities. In creating the principles of Kwanzaa, Dr. Karenga really based those principles on the principles of Ma'at, the most ancient moral system that we know of. And Ma'at is really the mother of everything that has existed and exists and was recognized as the divine, the divinity in the world. And everybody in the ancient times, even before Kemet tried to be Ma'atic, tried to practice Ma'at and to live Ma'at. And this is really, Dr. Karenga also wrote the book on the Ma'at, the moral ideal. And this is really fundamental, the principles of Ma'at, truth, reciprocity, justice, righteousness, harmony, balance, and order are really fundamental to the principles that we practice in Kwanzaa. And, so it has a very ancient it's so very ancient, it goes right back to the beginning of humanity. So I just wanted to make clear how important mothering principles and how important matriarchy is. Matriarchy was in fact the first civilization, and it is more than that, it's the only civilization. It is what civilization is about. It's about placing the mother at the center of social organization. And we live in a barbaric civilization at the moment, which is based on hierarchy, and actually the first hierarchy, which is the first injustice, which is the debasement of the mother, the African mother. And this idea has spread to many hierarchies being developed in the way that we see the world in hierarchy. And so Kwanzaa is important because it brings back the matriarchal principles and shows us the potential of what real civilization is. So we've been trained to think that we are more civilized than we've ever been and that we are living in a civilization. But in fact, we're living in barbarism. And what existed before, contrary to evolutionist beliefs, was what we created and brought with us in through the transmission of our cultural values and beliefs. And part of what we're doing is reawakening who we really are and trying then to build on those things. So Kwanzaa is one of the keys to reawakening that cultural memory. And I'll end up with that because I'm very nervous and I don't know what else to say because I'm too nervous. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dove. Now, at this time, Dr. Alonge Clarkson, who teaches at Thomas Jefferson University, but is also one of our doctoral graduates.
All right, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Heri za Kwanzaa, happy Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa. Like some other African harvest celebrations, the holiday is practiced for 7 days. The names of the days are called the Nguzo Saba, named for 7 principles of Kwanzaa. They are Umoja, for unity; Kujichagulia is self-determination; Ujima, collective work and responsibility; Ujama, cooperative economics; Nia, purpose; Kumba, creativity; and Imani, faith. Celebrating Kwanzaa includes placing mkeka on a table. It is straw or a cloth mat, and you can see it up here. On top of the mkeka sits a kanara, which is the candle holder, in which the Mishuma Saba, the 7 candles, are placed. The colors of Kwanzaa are black for the African people, red for the struggle, and green for the future. The black candle is in the middle of the green and red candles. It is the Umoja candle, is the black one, and it is the one that is lit first. On the table are the mazao, which are the crops, and the kikombe cha umoja, the unity cup, sitting on the mkeka. The unity cup is used to pour tambiko, libation, in remembrance of ancestors. African art objects and books about life and culture of African people sit on the mat to symbolize a commitment to heritage and learning. While Kwanzaa rises from the African community, Karenga says, people from other cultural groups may join in this celebration, just as people from a range of backgrounds partake in cultural celebrations such as Cinco de Mayo, Chinese New Year. Those who aren't of African descent may also celebrate Kwanzaa. The principles of Kwanzaa and the message of Kwanzaa has a universal message for all people of goodwill. It is rooted in African culture, and we speak as Africans must speak, not just to ourselves, but to the world. And in thinking about this, I just had a thought that I want to share, or a few thoughts, is that each year for me, Kwanzaa is a reminder that we do not, or rather we must not wait until just December to acknowledge these principles of unity, self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. We all have gifts. In this community, we also all have a role. We can acknowledge these principles daily, weekly, maybe even monthly, building new rituals for the future. We can acknowledge and imagine new futures for ourselves and for future generations. And so this is something that comes to mind when I think about Kwanzaa, the ways that we can practically commit to these principles. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Senor Escobar will, this is your light, will grab the mic. Your light, please. She will, is it on? Is it on? Yes, it's on. Thank you very much. Your Senor Escobar is going to do the lighting of the candles, and she's going to start with Umoja, the black candle. You have to press it and hold it. That's a candle of Umoja. Okay.
The second one, it's, I don't know the names.
Kuchachakalia.
Kuchachakalia.
Self-determination.
Self-determination.
Ujima.
Ujima. Oh, that's not what.
And hold it. Press it and hold it like that.
I'm sorry.
No, that's right. Sure, sorry. We may okay. Wait a minute. We can take. We can. You know what we can do? Take this. There you go. There you go. Thank you very much. Okay, and you can use the same one. It's Ujama.
Ujima.
And this is Nia.
Yeah.
Purpose. This one is Kumba.
Kumba.
Creativity. And then on the last day of Kwanzaa, you have Imani.
Imani.
Faith.
Faith.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Yesenia. Thanks.
Oh, thank you.
Very, very good. All right, so this is the general information for the public for the pre-Kwanzaa, so you have an idea of how the Kwanzaa celebration in your house, in your home, should be celebrated. And you can have all of this set up on a table. And each day, normally, you actually light one candle per day. So you start with the Umoja, and then you light another candle the next day and the next day. And then the last day, you celebrate by lighting the candle Imani. So we want to, now after we do that, what we do is to have what they call the Harambes. The word Harambe is a Kiswahili word which means let us pull together. Let us pull together. And so this is a brilliance, again, as I said, that this holiday was created. It's now worldwide. It is all over the world, and it represents the beginning of the appreciation of people who, after 300 years, 246 years of enslavement and over 100 years of segregation, have come to see themselves as representing the vanguard of a progressive and a dynamic community and society. So this is a wonderful thing. So we didn't have any questions, but is there any question? You have a comment? Yes, please, by all means, Yesenia. You want to come to? Yes, you need the mic because we have a YouTube audience.
Oh, okay. Hotep. Yeah, well, something that I have learned from coming to this institute is what is my identity. So, I mean, during the times of slavery, what these people, colonizers, try to do is to make us forget what was our names, what was our history, what was our culture, what was our people, where we were coming from. And they made a lot of effort, but they didn't count on our intelligence. So we have power, and the power is given for our community. So I'm here learning every day from where I'm coming from and where my people is coming from. And I'm really grateful of this community who have opened the heart and everything to giving me here a family, and especially to giving me the connection with my community. I think that is the big learning that we have from Kwanzaa celebration, and that's the unity, the principle of unity is what makes us stronger every day. So thank you, everybody, for being here.
Thank you so much, Yesenia. Yes, and that is correct. That is true. This is an incredible community, and I'm so delighted that you all have come. And I have mentioned earlier we have a board that is very, very strong and very great people, and I want to thank them very much for all of their support. And we have one of our board members is recuperating, and that's Brother Carlton. And Brother Carlton I talked to him a couple of days ago. He's doing fine. Brother Carlton always has looking toward the future, and so we very, very happy for him. And then I see that Reverend Joe Williams is standing there. Is there any way we could get the mic to Reverend Joe Williams?
Certainly, first, I'd like to thank God for being here. And I want to thank Dr. Asante for putting these presentations on and allow me to play a little small part in what he's doing. But once you find out what you don't know, what you should know, I'm working towards it to try to wake as much people up as I can to find out what is it that they erase from our memory, beat it out of us, that we need to know. Hey, how you doing? This young lady and I went to Egypt together. My God. All right, so Doc, keep the good work up, will you?
Thank you so much.
And thank you.
We're going to do the Harambes, and then we will be finished. And want to thank, I see Junaid who came in. Good to see you, Junaid.
I'm sorry, I was affected by one of the characteristics of Northern Cradle region.
The bad weather. I know.
So I was ordering Uber, and each of the ones I ordered would cancel.
Oh, that happens. Yeah, Uber does that to me too. They do that. That's right. You keep waiting.
I'm very sorry.
No problem. Thank you so much for being here. All right, so at this time, we're going to do the Harambes. If you want to, you can stand, if you can. And if you can't stand, please sit. The Harambes, we call them 7 Harambes, and they're like the 7 principles, the Nguzo Saba. And we do it 7 times, Harambe. So the first time we pull down, Harambe! Harambe, 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 Harambe. All right. Here is our Kwanzaa. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you.